Please take your seats. Our fellow warriors, veterans, everyone from Ukraine, with Ukraine standing alongside our defenders. I'm happy to congratulate you and to welcome you, and I'd like to continue the tradition of Veterans Forums on the eve of the Independence Day of Ukraine. I would like to commence this year's forum with the words of gratitude, with the applause to every one of you standing and defending our country's independence. We remember that the independent Ukraine stands because of those who do care about its future. We thank you. And I would like to have special words of gratitude to Mark Rutte. It is a great honor for me, and I'm very grateful for him being here in Ukraine together with his team. He supported this proposal. I really wanted you to be present here at the Veterans Forum. Thank you. Dear audience, many of us, back in our childhood, we heard the word veterans. It was about our relatives, about people who were staying alongside with us. They were the one who fought during the Second World War. There was elderly people just like my grandfather who was fighting against the Nazis. We saw those veterans. We saw the war somewhere distant. They sometimes recall this war, but they also recall those who were fighting alongside with them. They were proud of protecting the life, but they were never making that a sort of a cult. They never thought that the war might return and might become something ordinary for the Europe, and that their grandsons, young generations, will once again stand to fight, and they will be called veterans, and that the similar evil will come, although this time it is called Russianism. In 2014, in 2022, these years already bring the war that is longer than the Second World War, and nobody knows when this war for the independence of Ukraine will be over. But we're doing everything possible for that to happen, not sometimes in the future, but as soon as possible. And this is crucial. What is very important, that the war would end in a real safety and security for our sons and grandsons, but this war to be ended in a fair manner, with dignity to Ukraine, to Ukrainians, to all the warriors and veterans. I have no doubts that Ukraine will defend its independence, and we have already, and you have already defended the independence. We have united around Ukraine, around such a courageous nation. We have united Europe. We have united many other countries of the world. Now our task is to make sure that our sons, our children and grandchildren, the next generation of Ukrainians, won't need to fight at war. The key to that are the security guarantees that we are working on together with our partners. And today we have Mark here with us, and he's a great friend to Ukraine and all of us. Together with him, together with the other European leaders and the leaders of the United States, together with the coalition of our partners that encompasses over 30 countries, we are currently preparing the so much important to Ukraine security guarantees. I am confident that this is going to happen based on our strong and powerful armed forces, and that means based on your experience, the experience of combat operations and your effectiveness, as well as the experience of your comrades, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians who are currently on the front line performing combat tasks or have already returned with dignity and honor. I don't want to talk about the challenges. You know all about the figures and the statistics. We will hear about this from our officials. We'll hear proposals, initiatives and solutions, which is important. But it is also important for all of you to know and to feel that Ukraine is so much grateful to you. And we also hope that you will stay with Ukraine in future. You will consolidate and work for Ukraine. You will save it for the next generations. You will bring the knowledge that the bravery saves the history. I thank you. I would like to honor the memory of all of our soldiers, all of our men and women who gave their lives for the sake of us. So let us honor them with a moment of silence.
Дякую.
Слава
Україні!
Glory to Ukraine. The floor is given to the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte.
Dear veterans, dear family members, dear friends and supporters of Ukraine, dear President, dear Volodymyr, it is a privilege to be here today, 2 days before your Independence Day, to honor Ukraine's heroes, the defenders of this great nation. For 11 long years, brave Ukrainian men and women have been on the front line, resisting Russian aggression. For 3.5 years of full-scale war, hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians have taken up arms to defend everything you hold dear. From all walks of life, professional soldiers, politicians, medics, musicians, engineers, entrepreneurs. You show what it means to put service over self, to stand up and answer your nation's call. We are here today to thank you for your service and sacrifice, and to thank your friends and relatives for their support. No one has been untouched by this brutal war. I visited brave Ukrainian defenders in Kyiv in 2024, when I was Dutch Prime Minister. I had the honor to meet wounded members of the armed services on visits to Kyiv and Odessa. In fact, my first visit as Secretary General of NATO was to Kyiv just days after I arrived at NATO. Because I want to send the message, loud and clear: NATO stands with Ukraine. We stood with you from the beginning, and we stand with you now. And we will stand with you throughout the challenges ahead. NATO allies and partners have provided unprecedented military support to Ukraine, including critical air defenses, ammunition, armored vehicles and fighter jets. We continue to support you through our office in Kyiv, our Security Assistance and Training Command, our Joint Lessons Learned Center, and much more. Last month, President Trump and I launched a new initiative to get large supplies of US lethal weapons to Ukraine quickly. A number of European allies have already provided more than $1.5 billion. NATO allies are also working hard to end this brutal war, because no one deserves peace more than Ukraine. I welcome President Trump's tireless efforts to end the bloodshed and bring Putin to the table. Because ultimately, the only way to end the fighting is by talking. But it is time for Russia to stop the killing. It's time for Putin to show he is serious. And it is time for concrete steps towards a just and lasting peace. And that is exactly what we are working on today and tomorrow and these weeks. President Trump hosted President Zelensky along with several European leaders on Monday. And we discussed next steps following the meeting President Trump held with Putin just a few days before. We focused, indeed, as the President said, on security guarantees for Ukraine. Ukraine's friends and partners will here work together, Europe, the Europeans, the US and Ukraine, so that it is clear to all that any peace will last. Robust security guarantees, along with your strong Ukrainian armed forces, will deter aggression and protect the peace. And in all this, we stand with you. The mark of any great nation is how it treats its veterans. And while many of you have left the armed forces, rest assured, we will not leave you behind. NATO's cooperation with the Ministry of Veteran Affairs dates back to 2018. And we provide substantial support through our comprehensive assistance package, including funding for psychological rehabilitation and mental health, a crisis support hotline for veterans and their families, and a network of 5 rehabilitation centers across Ukraine to help heal the wounds, seen and unseen. NATO has also been a proud sponsor of the Ukrainian national team in the Invictus Games since 2017. I was honored as Dutch Prime Minister to welcome these incredible athletes to the Games in my hometown, The Hague, a few years ago. They are a testament of triumph over adversity. Ukraine's freedom is built on the broad shoulders of its veterans. And your bright future will be built on them too. Even after leaving active service, we know that your service to your country does not end there. Veterans play an important role in politics and local communities. You will play a pivotal role in shaping your country's future. And the experience of Ukrainian veterans will be tremendously important as we transform our approach to transatlantic defense. On the anniversary of the full-scale war, we welcomed members of Ukraine's cultural armed forces to NATO headquarters, including Ola, a violinist, and Yuri, a singer. Both have returned to active duty after being seriously injured in battle. And both are now using their voices and their instruments to tell the story of Ukraine's resilience and determination to the world. Dear friends, dear veterans, courage will forever have a name: Ukraine. And it will forever and it will forever wear the pride colors, yellow and blue. You have inspired the world with your bravery. And I say it once again, loud and clear, NATO stands with you. Slava Ukraini.